Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Nabadwip Dham Parikrama ki Jai, Jai Shri Chaitanya Sarasatmat ki Jai, and Jai Saprika Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhava Govinda Sundar Ju, Guru Maharaj's deities, Shri Chaitanya Sarasatmat ki Jai, Jai Shri Govinda Kund ki Jai, Shri Giriraj in Govinda Kund ki Jai, Shri Gangadha Sada Shiva Ju ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Nitai.
Hey Krishna.
Jai, the holy voice of Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj. Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai Srila Bhaktivinode Madhusudan Maharaj. And I say Shanti Mohi Devidasi ki Jai, and the Vila Govinda Bhaktivinoda. Hey.
Today, Enakshi joined us today also. She came all the way to be with us.
Wow.
She'll be with us in a minute or two.
Okay.
Yes. From Thailand to Hawaii to Poland to here.
Yes. Hey Krishna.
Audarya Leela Devirasi, now part of Vila Govinda Ashram Bhaktivinoda.
Oh, very nice.
From Ukraine.
So move that. Can you move that palette, whatever, menu? Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Hare Krishna. There's a Bhaktivinode song, one of his Nam Sankirtan songs.
It's based on Bhaktivinode.
Hari Bolo, Hari Bolo, Hari Bolo, Baire. Hari Bolo, Hari Bolo, Hari Bolo, Baire. Hari Nam Aniyache Gauranga Nitai Re. Hari Nam Aniyache Gauranga Nitai Re. Mother Dukkha Deki Re, Mother Dukkha Deki Re, Hari Bolo, Hari Bolo, Hari Bolo, Bhaire. So many songs Bhaktivinode Thakur wrote for the devotees to sing, actually, on Nabadwip Dham Parikrama or Nagar Sankirtan, like Nitai Chaitanya Bolinath Sriyam Arman. We heard the glories the other day, taking the name of Nitai and Chaitanya.
Bhaktivinode Thakur 写了很多。
Hey Krishna. I think we're getting set up here on the technical side of things, Maharaj.
You have lots and lots of switches over there. They do a wonderful job, Maharaj.
I couldn't do it, so my dandavats to those who can.
No, they do a wonderful job, Maharaj.
Mm-hmm.
Result is...
Yes, because there's translation in Russian, Chinese, Espanol.
And one day, on Sunday, when they were not working, we had also in Portuguese, Maharaj, for the Brazilian devotees.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Dandavat. Dandavat, Dandavat.
Okay, I think we're hearing okay this side now, Maharaj.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Yes, Maharaj.
Then, Maharaj, I'm at your service, and we already have a full Nat Mandir of devotees coming to partake in the Parikrama today. So, Maharaj, I know all the devotees are giving obeisances to Your Holiness and to each other. So let us begin with the obeisances. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And Jai to Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Ropa, Shridhar, Dev Goswami Maharaj, founder Acharya, Sri Chaitanya Saraswata Mat Ki Jai. And Jai to his inseparable servitor, by whose grace we've got Guru Maharaj's connection and so much. Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Vaga Ki Jai. Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur Ki Jai. And Shri Nabadwip Dham Mahatmya Ki Jai. Shri Nabadwip Bhavataranga Ki Jai. So some mini auspicious beginning, at least Maharaj, or we can simply say all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. So Maharaj, I think if you wish to continue in the sense of where we left off yesterday, then if we are following, as Bhaktivinode Thakur has given guidance about Nabadwip Dham Parikrama, in fact, he records there how Nityananda gave guidance to Jiva Goswami about the Nabadwip Dham Parikrama. So from Antadip, then heading around and across to Godrumdeep, and to Godrumdeep, then to Madhyadeep. Yeah, Godrumdeep and Madhyadeep, and then on to Kolaveche. So we can continue from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's temple of Sri Chaitanya Mat. We can continue on Parikrama and going past so many places. And in the Nabadwip Dham Mahatmya, then Nityananda is pointing out various places where Lord Brahma came and did austerities in Antadip. And step by step, continuing to the Saraswati River, crossing the Saraswati River, and other hidden rivers such as the Mandakini, which we don't see present today, and going over, actually approaching there, going first to Simantadwip, and Simantadwip, that is the place where Parvati came after hearing from Shiva about the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Parvati saw Shiva dancing and chanting Chaitanya, Chaitanya. Then Shiva said, "This, I'm telling you a secret, and I'm telling you about Mahaprabhu who will appear in Nabadwip." Then she came very enthusiastically to Nabadwip, and there she engaged in some penances for prayer, and Mahaprabhu revealed himself to her in Nabadwip, at this place, this island, which became Simantadwip. After Parvati, she took the dust from Mahaprabhu's feet at that place and put it in the Simanta, the parting in the center of the hair of that ladies traditionally wearing. And since then she's remained also in the form of Praura Maya, and she is there protecting the Dham with Shiva. And now this is in Simantadwip, and also this is a place of Kolaveche Shridhar, where Mahaprabhu day by day would steal the fruits or promise Shridhar that he would pay him something towards his fruit and maybe not pay afterwards. But anyhow, he would have very harmonious dealings or very interesting dealings with aged Kolaveche Shridhar. He was senior to him, and he was a very poor seller of banana leaves, bananas, and anything to do with the banana tree. And then the description also here is when Nityananda was taking Jiva Goswami and others at this time in that part, then Kolaveche Shridhar was still living there. This is another extraordinary thing about that first parikrama, that They met first of all with Shachi Mata and took her permission, and Ishan, their servitor, was there and meeting all of those personalities, and here meeting with Kolaveche Shridhar, not only hearing about him, but seeing him. He came out from his cottage and cooked for them, fed them, and gave a nice place for their rest in the afternoon.
And just one thing to say about Kolaveche Shridhar, that also the first Nagar Sankirtan, where they came out of Shiva Sangam and then took Nam Sankirtan to the streets. After so much singing and dancing, Mahaprabhu, showing his pastime of becoming thirsty, and he goes to the basically hut of Kolaveche Shridhar. He's so poor, he has like a rusty water pot that's really unfit. And from there, Mahaprabhu, they're hesitating for Mahaprabhu to take that, but because it's from the heart of such a pure devotee, he's drinking that water like nectar. And it is Kolaveche Shridhar who brought the lao, the squash, to the house of Sachimata the evening before Nimai Pandit went to Katwa to take sannyas. And it's mentioned that Nimai Pandit at that time, in somewhat teasing mode, would approach him, as he told, with his Kolaveche, means he has makes a living off of the bark and remnants of banana trees. So he's abjectly poor, we can say. And still we're told, with whatever meager income that he makes, half of it is dedicated to the puja of the Ganga. Because sometimes our devotees are in similar situations and realize, but still, if you can take some of your energy and give that in the service of the lotus feet of Guru and Gauranga, how valuable it is. But that was his situation, and Nimai Pandit is coming and saying like he wants to purchase from him, and he'll tell him what the price is. Remember, he's making barely nothing to begin with. Tell him what the price is, and Nimai Pandit is saying, no, there's someone over, by the banyan tree who's got him for half that. And Srila is saying, then go buy from him. And he said, no, I want to deal with you. And he's so charmed by the beauty of Nimai Pandit and his way of dealing, and this is their lila, their pastime. It's like we talking about Krishna's Navanita Chora, Gopi Jana Bastra, Hari, etc. This stealing tendency. Gurudev liked that sloka, Navanita Choram. I forget the rest of it. But and Chitta Hari Bungshid Hari. After stealing all these other things, he's stealing the consciousness also. Because they're saying like, what about for those who don't possess anything? Then he'll steal their heart, their consciousness. He's a thief by nature. So it's expressed in various ways in the early pastimes of Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandit. So he's like that. And so, in other words, he's stealing from him in these transactions day after day. This negotiation goes on, and Nimai Pandit is stealing from him. And his devotee is delighting in being used by his Lord in that way. If that is what pleases him, then he couldn't be happier. And we mentioned that Mahaprakash, where we're told he's come, Swabhaktevyam Sudham Nijabhajanam Mudram Upadisham, to embrace Bhakta Bhav, to be a devotee. Krishna's come to be a devotee. As Krishna, he cannot be a devotee. He's Adi Purusha Govinda, the enjoyer, the supreme positive. But he wants to embrace the position of the negative, that means the potency, the devotee. and gradually for that to fully express itself in Mahabhav, Mahabhav Swarupini Radha Thakurani. But before this is becoming fully manifest, he's sometimes showing his divinity in different ways. So in the Mahaprakash for 24 hours, he's sitting on the asan, the Shringasan, and granting all the devotees, everyone, whatever they want. He's in this mood of ultimate generosity. He's giving them that boon. You want Krishna Prem, you want this, whatever it is, he's willing to give that happily. And when Kolaveche Shridhar approaches him, he's like, so Shridhar, what is it that you want? Ask me for anything. And he says, my Lord, my desire is that that Brahman who comes every day and steals from me will do that life after life after life. That is my prayer to you. So we understand the pure devotee, this is their, das kori beton mori deho premadan. Their salary, beton means salary, prem. And Guru Maharaj says, so from the pramic hearts of these devotees, some interest is coming to them, right? It's like a capital investment of heart. Then the interest is coming. And Guru Maharaj said, and it shows that he knows Sridharam Sakalabheti, he knows everything. He says, then they apply the principle of compound interest. So when the interest comes from the prem that they already have, what do? Not to enjoy that. They expand their serving capital. And then when the interest comes, they expand their serving capital. Their only interest is expanded service. Hare Krishna. Maharaj.
Yes, Jai. And of course, Kolaveche Shridhar too, on the day that, or the evening before Mahaprabhu took sannyas, and coming with us squash and just amazing, like selflessness at the end of having been selfless all his life, as it were, in devotion. Maharaj, beautiful. Maharaj, then from there, we are going with Harinam Sankirtan. We're going to go to the Saraswati River, cross the river by boat. And in those days, I'm sure they had boats to cross the river too. And then we'll land on the other side at Godrum Deep. So there is a fair bit of walking from where we are to get there. So perhaps, Maharaj, we can have Panchatattva and Hare Krishna, very brief kirtan to represent the Sankirtan of the Parikrama.
Hare Krishna. One Panchatattva, two Krishna Nam.
There we are. That sounds about right, Maharaj. But with quality, we have to make up with quality.
Now you're scaring the devotees.
Hare Krishna. Good to see the devotees there too, of course. Chant. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Okay, so we've crossed safely by the chanting, we've crossed on the boat safely to the other side. So we've come to Godrumadeep, and we've come a short walk and short kirtan up to Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur's home, his Bhajan Kutir, and the place where now is his Samadhi, and where upstairs, oh, right there, upstairs, then still today preserved some of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur's own possessions, his bed, writing table, desk, various personal paraphernalia like this. And the devotees one by one come and have darshan there. And then this is a grand place for chanting the glories of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur and of the Nabadwip Dham Parikrama, which he has revealed. And today, perhaps at this place too, we'll be hearing something of the glories of Madhavendra Puri part, whose disappearance is today, and makes it also a special day on the Parikramas, where we are remembering the foundation, the source of the gift, the golden gift of the Golden Lord of Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Golden Lord. So here we are, this is a picture of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur's Murti at his Samadhi, with the sign that says, do not take photos, but that sign is not visible at the moment. And they turned it around, photoshopped it out.
Yeah.
And we are here, Maharaj, so perhaps a suitable place for us to hear Hare Katha.
One Sarva Bhavana Prabhu, the Bengali, while we're talking to Guru Maharaj, he's taking pictures with the camera. And Guru Maharaj is saying, like, what are you doing? And he realizes that he's taking these pictures. And Guru Maharaj said, that is a waste of energy. Right. And Sarva Bhavana, he has some, and he said, because in essence, he's going to disagree with Guru Maharaj, but sweetly. And he said, but Maharaj, if I was taking pictures of some mundane person, then I understand, that's a waste of energy. But if we're taking pictures of your divine grace and like that, and Guru Maharaj, but that is Guru Maharaj's opinion, just to be straight. What he would think of this modern culture. Anyway, so, but then and just in this sort of little delightful, playful moment, I mentioned the verse, E Baru Karuna Koro Vaisnava Goshai, and it has a line in there that says, you only become purified by repeatedly bathing in the Ganga, but if you're once bathed in the glands of the Vaisnava, you've achieved the ultimate purity by being bathed in their glands. But it would require repeated bathing in the Ganga. And to my surprise and delight, Srila Guru Maharaj sang every line of that song before us. So, and I heard once that there was one of the children of Bhaktivinode Thakur was still alive at the time in London, and just thinking, but perhaps not thinking too clearly, I was saying to Gurudev once, I said, do you think on the way back through London there would be any benefit in stopping to see her, interview her? And Gurudev just said to me, he said, we're not interested in flesh connection. And I sort of like shuddered. That was his response to that. And later, in the late afternoon, I'm sitting, and Guru Maharaj is in his plantation chair in the afternoon, and I went there. And I could see, I'm saying, like Gurudev, in other words, he's saying, if you want to understand about Bhaktivinode Thakur, where should you go? So in the afternoon, I'm there with Guru Maharaj, and I'm seeing he's Bhaktivinode Thakur before me. like that. I thought, here is Bhaktivinode Thakur. Everything I need to know about Bhaktivinode Thakur. Here's the Vani Vaibhav extension of Bhaktivinode Thakur. I have the good fortune to be sitting at his lotus feet and hearing from him. Right? Not to be distracted in some other way. So, and substantially what we've come to know about Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur from Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada. But as we told the other day, by the way, the map was hunters. And so he finds the Mayapur and he gets the transfer to Krishnanagar, and he's now living here, and this place that goes by various names, Surabhi Kunj. He wrote a song, Swananda Sukhada Kunj, very high internal residence abode. The local name, Swarupganj, has many different names there. And we hear that he would have in the evening have like 4 rotis, thick chapatis, and substantial milk, and then sleep from 8 till midnight, and wake up at midnight, and from midnight to sunrise, be engaged in his Nam Bhajan, his writings, his divine pastimes, during that period particularly. Okay? And someone who would become a disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in the future was like next door neighbor, if we can conceive of being the next door neighbor of Bhaktivinode Thakur. And he would tell the devotees of different observances, things he witnessed, and he said, sometimes, like at 3 o'clock in the morning, Bhaktivinode Thakur, there was a cement bench on the front porch of his house, and he would sit there and be taking Krishna Nam, and said, wailing and crying off to Krishna in the distance, like the anguish of separation in his heart reached such an intensity with this sort of heart and fervor. He's crying out to Krishna in his taking of Krishna Nam. It was heart-rending and astonishing to that devotee hearing this in the mornings. And Srila Guru Maharaj tells us that, while he's there chanting also, 4 o'clock or so will come, and he's feeling a breeze coming from a nearby place, which is variously named as Devapali. We'll get to the other name in a second. So there's a place, Devapali, and the breeze is coming from there and going in a particular direction every day toward Mayapur. Remember, in Tarakeshwar, he had that vision of this city appearing, and now it's been identified, and he feels the breeze coming from Devapali going toward the Yogapith in Mayapur every day around 4 a.m. And he comes to realize the other name of Devapali is Nrsimhapali. And there is this Satyayuga Murti of Nrsimhadev with Prahlad Maharaj at his feet. And why they call it Devapali, that Nrsimhadev, after killing Hiranyakashipu, he's on the way to his own abode, and as we hear in Nabadwip Dham Mahatmyam, at different times, the avatars, great devotees, they will realize that, like the spiritual radiation from that place, and it's eternal. So it is always there. Whatever can be seen visibly is secondary. They can appreciate that divine current. There is Nrsimhadev. Jai Nrsimhadev, ki jai. Prahlad Maharaj, ki jai. So Nrsimhadev realizing, oh, this is Nabadwip and Mayapur. So he settled on a hill, and on surrounding hills, the Devatas landed, and they're all offering prayers to Nrsingadev. That's why it's Devapali. But then Nrsingadev, that deity, and Nrsingadev, the breeze Bhaktivinode Thakur is feeling is Nrsingadev going to the Yogapith for Mangal Arati. That is his realization. And again, taking the Krishna Nam, Guru Maharaj said in one instance, he said, he's taking Krishna Nam and walking in the sky, in the subtle plane. And he comes upon a gathering where the Mahajanas are having a Bhagavad Gita class. So we shouldn't think that Bhagavad Gita is just for the beginners. The Mahajanas, they have Bhagavad Gita class. But in their class, they're discussing the verse, Api chet suraracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak, sadhu reva samantavya sam vahitosi, then kipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim digachati konteya prati janihi name bhakta pranashati. So it says here that if an Ananya Bhak devotee, means a pure devotee of the highest order, it appears they've done something wrong, that, or we'll say they've done something wrong. And then it says, quickly, and this is the general meaning, quickly they recover from that, and they're restored to their position. And Krishna says, Konteya pratita, no me bhakta prana, under no circumstances is my devotee ever vanquished. That's the general meaning. But they're thinking about it more deeply. As Srila Gurudev would say sometimes, he would pose a question, and it seemed like a simple question, and some devotee might start supplying the answer for that question, and Gurudev would stop them and say, Prabhu, I know what we normally say. That's not what I'm talking about. He said, I know the normal answer to this question. I'm talking about on a deeper level consideration. So that's the general view of the word, but they're thinking to try and understand this more deeply. And they see Bhaktivinode Thakur in their plane. And they say, well, here is an Ananya Bhakta. Here's a pure devotee of the highest order. Let's inquire from him. And Bhaktivinode Thakur gives the explanation that if he is truly an Ananya Bhakta, a pure devotee of the highest order, then he's not done anything wrong. It's not that he did something wrong and he'll recover from that. He didn't do anything wrong from the beginning. Guru Maharaj said, like the policeman who kills someone in the line of duty, the soldier who kills someone in the line of duty, there's no fault on their part. Right? And he said, so, and because it says, Kipram Bhavati Dharmatma, quickly, you'll, if you can embrace this conception, if you can believe in your heart of hearts that the devotee is faultless, rather what they've done is good, then you'll become Dharmatma. He said, what is the qualification of an Ananya Bhakta? Sarvadharmam paritaja mamekam sharanam braja. They've given up all conceptions of Dharma and surrendered to Krishna. How can you say, again, they'll become dharmic? That would be to go down, right? They've already given up, arjapatam chihitva, like to go, they've crossed over that plane. Then you're saying, they're going to become dharmic again? He said, no. He said, if you can have this level of faith in the pure devotee, then that'll be dharmic for your position will increase. So this explanation Srila Guru Maharaj would give him and tell this. And so, but I listen to everything he says, and so once on this subject matter I said to Guru Maharaj, but I hear that some of your godbrothers did not approve of this explanation. And Guru Maharaj said, who are these godbrothers? And I went, I don't know, I just, I heard, like, you said one. But he was joking with me. And then he laughed. He said, Jajavar Maharaj. And he said, but then he revealed his thinking. He said, Jajavar Maharaj said, Maharaj, if you give out this explanation widely, then people will abuse it. They will do wrong in the name of pure devotion. Or he said, one man said, well, then by this standard, like, who's doing the most wrong is the most pure devotee. But Srila Guru Maharaj said, I don't care for that. I take a stand for the truth. And we already know from Bhaktivinode Thakur, Krishna and Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Uddhava Gita, you know, that the truth, and Bhaktivinode Thakur, Bhagavat, its theology and ethics, the truth is invariably modified by the receivers and converted into untruth. That is not an argument for not speaking the truth. So, so that Bhaktivinode Thakur, we told Guru Dham, Grantha Dham, Gaura Dham, Namadam, Buddha, Bhakti Dham, Buddhidam Bande, Bhaktivinode Dham Sada, who's given us everything, and the full wealth of this line comes from Bhaktivinode Thakur, and including the distributing agent, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and his ultimate agent of distribution is Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. But Srila Guru Maharaj, he is supremely clever, right, in a devotional, in every way imaginable, including the devotional way. So everyone, disciple, you know, bruhu snigdasya shishyasya, and the Bhagavad, you know, wants to be dear to their guru, you know, capture the love and affection of their guru. And Srila Guru Maharaj's strategy is that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivinode Thakur is everything to him. And remember, it's through Bhaktivinode Thakur also the connection with Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. But really, Bhaktivinode Thakur, as we hear in Guru Maharaj's birthday prayer to Srila Saraswati Thakur, Brajamanana Bahukanana Kamala Priyanayanam Gunamanjari Gorima Guna Haribhasana Nayanam. Talks about that plane, the kunja in the upper world. There's Bhaktivinode Thakur, Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Saraswati Thakur in their internal identity. But so Bhaktivinode Thakur, Guru Maharaj thinks, if I accurately ascertain the gifts of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur and praise him, then Srila Saraswati Thakur will be pleased. So Guru Maharaj wrote the Bhaktivinode Viraha Dasakam, and this was in the lifetime of Srila Saraswati Thakur. And they're printing at the Gaudiya Math. And as we've heard at various times, Srila Saraswati Thakur, he visits the press and they show him proofs of different things that are being printed. Told sometimes he's seeing the Chaitanya Bhagavat, waves of ecstatic symptoms playing on his divine form, observed by senior servitors. And he sees this prayer to Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur. And particularly this line, Sri Gauranumatam Swarupa Viditam Rupagrajena Rupadye Pariveshitam Raghu Gunai Ashvaditam Shevitam Jivadhyaya Virakshitam Sukha Shiva Brahna Samanitam Sri Radha Padasevanamritamaho Taddatum Bhavan. So here Guru Maharaj, he's perfectly assessing the attributes of all the super servitors of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and taking it from there to the gift of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur. It says, Sri Gaura Anumatam Swarupa Viditam. As Rupa Goswami says in his Chaitanyastakam, Swarupam Bibrano Jagatatulyam. The position of Swarup Damodar is incomparable. Right? And Charitamrita says, Mahaprabhu Dutiya Kalevar. He's Mahaprabhu the second. He's the Bhavanu Murti of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whatever's being expressed by Mahaprabhu is also there within the heart of Swarup Damodar. And it's through Swarup Damodar and his assistant Raghunath Das Goswami that we have the gift of Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam, which reveals the internal reason for the descent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he's saying, why Mahaprabhu came down in this world, really, truly, deeply, internally, is known only to Swarup Damodar. He knows everything. Rupagraden Adratam. And this very purpose, the substance, reason, is worshipped by the elder brother of Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami Prabhu. Rupadye Pariveshitam. And Rupa Goswami, Pariveshitam, Raghuganai, Rupa Goswami is distributing this divine substance. It's the Rupa Nuga line. Raghuganai and Raghunath Das Goswami, we always hear at the end of Charitamrita chapters, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Jara Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das. What do you think? Like, why Rupa and Raghunath? Why do the lectures of Saraswati Thakur or Guru Maharaj say invariably end with praise of Srimati Radharani, Radha-Dasyam, and praise for Rupa and Raghunath? He's always saying, let us, our eternal aspiration is to be dust at the holy lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath. Because Kaviraj Goswami must give Raghunath Das as guru, and who gifted the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to him and the full wealth of Swarup Damodar. So Raghugan means, in the group of Raghunath, means Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami as well. Raghuganai Ashwaditam Shem. Their service is to relish this divine substance. That is their service, to relish it, and in the process, it's becoming more tasteful as they extend it. So we find sometimes in Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam that Kaviraj Goswami will give some verse from Rupa Goswami, and it's extraordinarily beautiful and wonderful. And then it will be followed by a verse that's similar, like same, but different. And you're looking and you're like, you're puzzled, like which one is more beautiful or sweeter? It's equally sweet, and somehow perhaps even enhanced, and you're wondering, you look in the purport and it will say, Govindalilamritam, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Remember, he has Chaitanya Charitamritam. He also has a book called Govindalilamritam that is not for our course of study, but he's included some verses there. So when you see this beautiful, super beautiful verse of Rupa Goswami, followed by an equally beautiful verse enhancing certain aspects, and it says Govindalilamritam. So Raghuganai Ashwaditam Sevitam. Jivadhyaya Barakshitam. Jivadhyaya means Jiva, Baladev Vidyabhushan. They're Rakkak, like Guru Maharaj's name, Bhakti Rakkak. We told guardian of devotion. They're protecting this divine substance from imitationism, adulteration, from those who would challenge its authenticity or legitimacy. That's the service of Srila Jiva Goswami, and reflected in Saraswati Thakur, Sri Jiva Tejastiti. Guru Maharaj is saying that same fervor and intensity and protecting aspect in Srila Saraswati Thakur for the line. And Baladev Vidyabhushan, Jiva Jaya Virakshitam, Sukha, Shiva, Brahma. And later, Guru Maharaj added Udava. What is Asamaho Charanenu Jishamahankshang? They're aspiring for a drop of this divine substance. Brahma, as we told, they're donning the form of human beings, disguised as human beings, coming for a drop of this divine substance. It's the aspiration of Sukha, Shiva, Brahma, Udava. Right? So this, you can see, Guru Maharaj, the way this is structured, it's building up like a crescendo to a particular point. So then, what is it? Right? That Mahaprabhu came down, that Swarup Damodar only knows fully, Sanatan worships, Rupa distributes, Raghunath and Krishna, they're tasting, Jiva and Baladeva are protecting, Sukha, Brahma, Shiva, Uddhava are aspiring for a drop of this divine substance. Sri Radha Padasevanamritam, saying, "Oh, Tadatu, oh, Bhaktivinode Thakur, this is your gift to the world, is the holy service of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, Radha-Dasyam." Srila Guru Maharaj and his, as Bhaktivinode has his Bhagavat Arka Marichimala, Guru Maharaj, Yadamiyam Mahima Sri Bhagavatam Katayam, Pratipatam Anubhutam Apyalab Davideya Tadakila Rasamurti Shamalila Avalambam Madhura Rasadi Sri Radha Pada Padmam Prapadye. Saying the Bhagavatam, although her name is not mentioned ostensibly, the entire presentation is to take us in the direction of the holy lotus feet, the service of Radharani. And we say, no, it's the book about Krishna. Yes, it says in Mat Saranam Satam, you can't understand Krishna if you do not factor in his devotee, what to speak of the supreme devotee. If you're harboring even a remote trace of envy toward the devotee, what to speak, who's a representation of the supreme devotee, you cannot enter into the mysteries of Krishna conception. Nigama kalpataro galitam palam shukamukharam ritridavashamyatam. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhubi Bhavukaha. It is we'll hear about Madhavendra Puri being the Bhakti Kalpataru. This is the Kalpataru of all Veda. The fruit of the Kalpataru of Veda is produced in the form of the Bhagavatam. And what is that fruit? It is Madhura Rasa, this divine substance. So the Bhagavatam is taking us sequentially toward the 10th canto, the appearance of Krishna and the pastimes with Srimati Radharani and Braja Gopis. So the Bhagavatam, its culmination is in Madhura Rasa. And here Guru Maharaj says, Shama Lila Avalambam, but all the Madhura Rasa pastimes are completely, utterly dependent upon Srimati Radharani. Radha-Dasyam means that. So Guru Maharaj is saying, oh, Bhaktivinode, Thakur, this is astonishing. This is your gift to the world. Sri Radha Padasevanamritamaho Tadatum Isho Bhavan. And when Srila Saraswati Thakur saw this, that's when he said, who wrote this? And they say, oh, Shridhar Maharaj. No, Shridhar Maharaj has not written this. He said, Bhaktivinode Thakur has written this through him. He said, I came into this world to give something, to distribute something, and now I see it's been received. Now I see it's been received by someone fully, completely. So soon I may leave the world, but at least one man will remain behind and sole, total possession of my gift and able to represent me fully and completely. And that man is Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. So it's seeing that verse and glorification of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur that brought this level of certification from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And as we told, Jai Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. And that, again, Bhaktivinode Thakur, he's deeply penetrating into the Srimad Bhagavatam, as we're told, live stream reality, right? Live streaming reality. And Swarup Damodar, who we just mentioned, he comes to Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur, appears to him in a divine vision and tells him, the Bhagavat is Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Dharma Jnani Dibiksaha Kalon Nashtra Dashamesha Puranarko Dunoditaha. Kali Yuga is, Krishna has left the world, Kali Yuga is plunged into dense darkness, we're told. But the Bhagavatam is rising like a sun, illuminating all direction and giving guidance. So 18,000 verses, like 18,000 rays of the Bhagavat sun. And Swarup Damodar tells Bhaktivinode Thakur, collect 1,000 of those rays along particular lines. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan, and he explains the first 3 slokas of the Bhagavatam along those lines. So, and that's what led Guru Maharaj to do his sloka collection, of which we just mentioned a verse. So, Bhaktivinode Thakur, in writing the Bhagavat Arka Marichi Mala, this divine sloka collection, he said, I hesitate to express how this came about, but I also fear that if I don't reveal how it came about, there'll be some fault on my part. And he tells about this divine vision of Swarup Damodar. So, and his one publication, Kalyana Kalpaturu, we hear, like the desire tree of all of ultimate auspiciousness. And we told the Bhagavatam, Nigama Kalpaturu, Kalpaturu, there it is again. So today is the Tirubhav Mahamahotsavatiti of Madhavendra Puri, so to be the Bhakti Kalpaturu, which Prabhupada translated, the tree, the desire tree of devotional service. So Madhavendra Puri, just as when Krishna descends in this world, the Guru Varga appears before him. And Guru Varga sometimes means literally Guru, other times means mother, father, auntie, uncle, seniors. Same thing when Mahaprabhu is coming, first Advaita, Acharya, Nityananda, Haridasa, others, and also Madhavendra Puri. How exalted is Madhavendra Puri? We get some hint by understanding who are his disciples. Advaita Acharya, Paramananda Puri, Nityananda, Ishwara Puri, but Haridas Thakur. They're all disciples of Madhavendra Puri. And the Chaitanya Charitamritam, the Kaviraj Goswami goes out of his way to stress the point that Vrindavan Das Thakur is the biographer of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And the Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Bhagavat. And whatever he's presented is perfect, but I think those things that have not been expressed, I will express here. So, whereas Chaitanya Bhagavat, there's extensive description of the Adi Leela, the early pastimes of Mahaprabhu, and the Madhya Leela. It culminates in his taking sannyas and going to Puri, we can say. Chaitanya Charitamritam, the Adi Leela, the early pastimes of Mahaprabhu, are only dealt with of Niyamai Pandit in a summary form. The book substantially begins in the Madhya Leela, so he's summarized the Adi Leela. It's in the Madhya Leela. It's actually called Shesh Leela, the final pastimes, divided into Madhya and Antya. This is the heart of the matter in Charitamritam. So, in the early chapter there, fearing that he might not even live to complete this seva, he summarizes the Shesh Leela in the second or third chapter. Right? And these verses are very beautiful and profound. Na prema gandasti darapi mehoro, and so many others. Srila Gurudev used to sometimes just recite them. Hare Krishna. But he begins with the sannyas of Mahaprabhu, and immediately the sannyas having been given, the first place that Mahaprabhu stops on his way to Jagannath Puri, because we're told he's wandering in divine ecstasy for so many days, and then gets the inspiration that actually Krishna is in Dwaraka, Jagannath Puri, because first Kahan Krishna Prananath Murali Badan, Kahan Karun, Kahan Pan Brajendra Nandan. He was madly searching for Sri Krishna, running to Vrindavan, then gets the inspiration, no, Krishna is in Puri. So he heads in that direction with his devotees, including Nityananda Prabhu. And it is not accidental that the first major stop is Kirchor Gopinath, right? This deity. Right? So remember, Ishwara Puri is a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, and he has the seva of being the guru of Nimai Pandit. And so when they stop there, Mahaprabhu is telling the devotees about the glories of Madhavendra Puri, right, as heard from his Gurudev. Right? And saying that Madhavendra Puri, being always absorbed in Krishna Prem, wandering from different holy places, including in Vrindavan, and he makes no arrangement for his bodily necessities. He only, if someone offers him something, he takes something, otherwise not. Right? And he finds himself in Govardhan, and some ladies from the village nearby, they were told by the one cowherd boy that they noticed there was this sannyasi and Govardhan, and looks like he could use some sustenance. One cowherd boy arrived with some milk. He said, the ladies nearby sent me because he said, I live in this village and no one here fasts. Right? So they saw you and they sent me with this milk. He brings it. He said, anyway, there. And so he said, here, take this pot of milk, I'll be back later. You know? And we're told, Madhavendra Puri takes this milk, and he goes to sleep that evening, and he has this dream vision in which he realizes that cowherd boy is none other than Gopal Krishna himself. And he tells him, he said, that I'm a murti in the nearby forest, and due to invaders, the devotees, fearing for my safety, they hid me in the kunja. And I've been there for so long. This deity turns out to be the deity of the grandson of Krishna, Bajranga. So that means 5,000 years old minimum. And so he's telling Madhavendra, please come in. I've been waiting for you, actually. You know, like, where have you been? I've been waiting for you to come for this moment. So please, hurry. And Madhavendra wakes up in the morning, realized the inconceivable good fortune he had to be served by the milk from the Braja Gopis, from Gopal. And he gets the local people, they're simple-hearted. He tells them the story, everyone, they're ready to go. They go and they find Gopal, he's very heavy, they carry him out, clean him off, which is also part of their seva, and they install him atop Govardhan Hill and have an abhishek and pouring so much milk, ghee, panchagavya, and oiling his body, making him look very beautiful. And he institutes the Annakut festival. They're offering mounds of prasadam day after day. And all the local villagers are excited to participate. So they're given like, all right, you take this week, you take that week. And local well-to-do, wealthy people are offering cows for the Goshala, in every way imaginable. They're taking their resources and serving Gopal. He brings two Brahmins from Bengal to do the Seva Puja. And this goes on for 2 years. And interestingly, so much prasadam is being offered, and we're still at the after it's all done, there you go. At the end of the night, Madhavendra Puri drinks, a pot of milk. That's his program. So after 2 years, this goes on very nicely, and then Gopal appears to him in a dream and said, just update, everything's going nicely, but I'm still feeling hot, and what I need you to do is to go collect some sandalwood, a lot of sandalwood pulp, because I'm really feeling the heat, and some camphor, and that best sandalwood pulp and camphor happened to be in Jagannath Puri. So if you'll go there and collect that, bring that back to treat my condition. And Madhavendra Puri is very elderly at this point. It's, I don't know, 1,000 kilometers, 1,500, it's a major distance. He's going everywhere by walking. So he's going to walk there, collect 40 kilos of sandalwood and so much camphor, and bring that back, and without hesitation and with his heart full of delight to have this seva, as Bhaktivinode Thakur will say in his songs, like the how do you say? It's like, what do they call it? The burden of love? Is that the expression? Labor of love. Labor of love. So the devotion is the original labor of love. Right? So Bhaktivinode Thakur was saying, when you're given some responsible service to do, that is the happiness of the devotee. Even if to do that there's mental stress, internal stress, external, whatever it is, it's the happiness of the devotee that this seva has come to me. Right? So happily, Madhavendra Puri goes on this journey, and he reaches Remuna, where there's the deity of Gopinath. Right? At that time, just known as Gopinath. And here, Hare Krishna. So, and their specialty is offering this milk preparation they call Amrita Keli, type of, condensed milk, sweet rice, you can tell, something along those lines. Right? They offer 12 pots of this every day. So when Madhavendra Puri is there, they bring one to him. He's tasting it and saying, oh, it's so wonderful. And he's saying, I should find out how they do this, so when I go back, we can do this for Gopal. Right? So Srila Guru Maharaj says one of the hallmarks of pure devotion is Atma Samiksha, or self-analysis. Right? Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavritam anukuryena krishnanushilanam bhaktirutama. Pure devotion has no ulterior motive. Right? Pure devotee, anartha nivritti, Guru said, a pure devotee will never think they've achieved that stage, that they're free from misconception or ulterior motive. So Madhavendra Puri thinks, I'm telling Gopal, but really it's for me. So look, I'm advertising how much devotion I have, show me, and all for my deity Gopal. I'm telling that, but that's not the truth. The truth is, it's for me, and I'm using the name of Gopal and making an excuse. And saying, how shameful I am. And so he's disgusted with himself and goes off in seclusion and taking Krishna Nam and falling asleep. And, maybe not. But the pujari goes to sleep. And he has a dream vision. The deity appears to him and says, there was one great devotee of mine here, Madhava Puri is his name. And on the offering, I took one of the pots of kheer and hid it under my dhoti. And you please, and I'm asking you on my behalf, you take this and give that to him. Right? So that pujari does as pujaris do, makes himself fit, goes to the deity, and then lifts up the cloth of Krishna and sees there's one pot of that Amrita Keli kheer there. So he goes out searching, is there someone by the name of Madhava Puri, a sannyasi, Madhava Puri? And I am that Madhava Puri. Oh, there is no one more fortunate than you. Gopinath has stolen kheer for you. So then his Gopinath is enhanced with kheer chor. Chor means thief. The kheer thief, Gopinath. That makes Krishna happy to be called that. Because how did he get that name? Shining a spotlight on the devotion of the topmost devotee. So he's given the Hare Krishna. So he's taking that kheer, and you see it always comes in a so-called mud cup or earthen. We're told that which is in connection with Krishna is worshipable. Tadhyanam samarchanam. So that pot, Madhavendra Puri breaks the pot and he carries it around in his cloth, and afterwards, every day, he'll take like one piece of the pot and eat that. Right? Such is the level of his faith and devotion. But such is his Vaishnavata, that, the pratishta, the enemy of devotion, name and fame, the reputation that I'm a devotee, he realizes word is going to spread like wildfire that this happened. Before he's leaving before sunrise. But we're told the pure devotee cannot escape the devotional reputation. So by the time he reaches Puri, they know, they've heard, and they're very eager to help him in his seva to Gopal. So they get the 40 kilos of sandalwood pulp and all the karpur, camphor, give him the proper paperwork. There's always paperwork. Even then there was paperwork. Show up at the border, you have to show the paperwork to the customs officials. We think our situation is unique. Right? Madhavendra Puri has to show paperwork to customs officials. So he makes it back to Ramuna, and Gopal appears again in a dream to him. And Gopal saying, actually, Gopinath and I, same, but different, but same, mainly. So if you give all this chandan to the Gopinath servitors, and I hear also they're calling him Kirachur Gopinath these days, give it to him, and I'll get the relief from that. So of course, those servitors are very ecstatic to hear that. And so, but what makes this even increasingly interesting, so Mahaprabhu is telling this story, sharing with all the devotees, and he turns to Nityananda Prabhu and saying, is there anyone more fortunate than Madhavendra Puri? And so you could say that on the basis of what you've heard here, but there is also more to that. So if Mahaprabhu is singling out Madhavendra Puri as having some inconceivable level of good fortune, and Nityananda Prabhu is in agreement, then we understand what follows after this is we're told that, and why he occupies this position, the Prem Ankur, that we're told the supreme verse of Rasa Kavya has come from the lotus lips of Madhavendra Puri. And it's mentioned there, just as the Kaustuba Mani, that is the gem that's on the chest of Krishna. So no other gem compares to that, the Kaustuba gem. In that way, Kaviraj was saying, nothing compares to this sloka. It's the supreme Rasa Kavya, verse of Rasa Kavya, Rasa poetry. Right? And then, in light of what we just heard, he said, and like the rubbing of the sandalwood, you just heard this whole story about the sandalwood pulp and offering. And he said, just like that, the way, how do you do it? You have to rub the sandalwood, grind it against the stone. Guru Maharaj gives a comparison to self-dissipation that's required in devotion, that you offer yourself into these activities, and as the sandalwood is ground down and the essence comes out through self-dissipation, it's self-dissipation, self-oblivion as a path to self-discovery and realization. So here, he's saying, as you, by continuously rubbing, more and more of the aroma and the essence comes out. By continually considering the deep import of this sloka, everything will be revealed. And he said, and it is by the mercy of Srimati Radharani herself that this appeared what does it say? Like the moonlight from Madhavendra Puri. So it's telling, Mahaprabhu relished this. It's from Srimati Radharani through Madhavendra Puri. It's the basis for which Mahaprabhu is descended. That's why we're celebrating this day and this importance, because the Tirobhav, the disappearance, that's where it came out of Madhavendra Puri. At that moment, just before he left the world, right? This highest thing. And so we're told, Radharani, Madhavendra Puri, Mahaprabhu, and Kaviraj Goswami said, there isn't a fourth man who understands. Is capable of relishing this deeply. But we should qualify that by saying the Mahaprabhu's line is the Rupanuga line. Right? So Mahaprabhu and his line included there. And the verse is deceptively simple. It says, Ai dina dayadranata he maturanata kudava lakshase hridayam tvaraloka kataram Dvaita Brahmyati Kim Koromyaham. It's from Srimati Radharani in the depths of separation, saying, when will I see Krishna again? Right? It's reminiscent of the final slok of the Shikshastakam. Adarsanam mamratam karotu va. If by not showing yourself to me, that is your pleasure, then that will be my happiness. If for some reason you want to adarsanam, that you won't reveal yourself to me at this time. Here she's saying, how will I go on? When will I see you again? And how will I go on in separation from you? I mean, this is in the simple way that it's being expressed. If you recall, Mahaprabhu at the house of Advaita Acharya singing the song of Vidyapati about, today I'm so happy, Madhava is in my house. And he's saying, it's Mathura Biraha, Radharani, Krishna's returned. How happy she will be. And that's Advaita Acharya. He's singing that song. And when Mahaprabhu came to Shantipur in Advaita Bhavan. But here, she's saying, when will I see you again? How can I go on in separation from you? Right? And the key were Dina and Dvaya. Din, Mahaprabhu would say, Ai Din, oh, I'm so fallen and in need, so hopeless. Gauranga said that sort of negativity draws the attention of the Supreme Positive. When it reaches its, you have Zenith Nader, the depths of separation expressed and shows the greatest necessity. So Srila Gurudev would say, Deen and Doya. Doya means mercy. And it's interesting that Srila Gurudev, he would sometimes say, these only two things we know for certain. Deen, one, we are fallen, that we know for certain, and that Krishna is merciful to the fallen, that we also know for certain. So we have some hope, and we shall say, not only is he, and when Krishna is being merciful to the fallen, when is he most merciful to the fallen? Namo Mahavadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurtishe Namaha. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we're saying, the highest thing of which there's nothing higher, right? What does he consider is treasure? The heart of Srimati Radharani. The Krishna consciousness movement is a celebration of the heart of Srimati Radharani. Jadi gorna hoita tabiki hoita kamani daritam dehe Radhar mahima prema rasasyama jagata janata ke. Vasugoswami is saying, if Mahaprabhu didn't come down, we wouldn't know this. We wouldn't know the greatness of the love of Srimati Radharani and the heights of Krishna Prem in its highest expression, Mahabhav. Mahabhav Chintamani Radharani, Mahabhav Swarupini Radha Thakurani. So what he considers this to be the most valuable thing, as assessed by Krishna himself, to be 10 million times greater than what he himself is experiencing. And he's descending here and bringing others, the most fallen souls, in connection with this highest divine substance. With, Chaitanya Nitai, with Nityananda Prabhu, the Kripa avatar. Hare Krishna. So, Guru Maharaj identified this as being the gift of Bhaktivinode Thakur to the world in the form of the modern day Krishna consciousness movement. And then what did he do? So, what is my prayer to you, Bhaktivinode Thakur? As if by saying all these things, Srila Guru Maharaj has got the attention of Bhaktivinode Thakur, which I'm sure he has. Right? So perfect is the glorification. So now he has the attention of Bhaktivinode Thakur. What is my prayer to you? That you will bless me, that I can be, in the dust of the holy feet of your dear Dvaita Das, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So perfect, Srila Guru Maharaj's prayer. Hare Krishna. Madhusudan Maharaj. Madhusudan Maharaj.
I'm home.
Now I feel like
Maharaj,
I'm in.
We are diving and surfacing in this beautiful Harikatha, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
And we are in Godrumdeep, and I suppose we need to head back to Sri Chaitanya Saraswati.
Yes.
And so many places to go and places to see, but Bhaktivinode Thakur himself, Bhaktivinode Thakur himself tells about the Dham Parikrama normally starting on the Makara Sankranti and going all the way up until Gaura Punima Day, which is about 5 weeks. I saw when is Makara Sankranti.
Right. So I was telling you earlier in the day, because all the places that we would like to stay, and each place mentioned there and say some appropriate glorification, I said it would take us around a month, and now you're telling me 5 weeks, so it makes sense.
It's 5 weeks, and also you see we are together for like an hour and a half approximately or so in the afternoon for these 5 days coming up until, oh look at that, very interesting. 5 days coming up to the Gaurupanima. So we are touching on these things, and in some places like now, we're hearing some more extensive Harikatha, but still it is all condensed, and we are giving a hint of the mood of the full Parikrama as led by Nityananda, Jiva Goswami, and in that time, as we mentioned earlier, with Advaita Acharya, with Srinivasa, with Srivas Thakur, and those parshads of Mahaprabhu, his eternal associates. And from Godrumdeep, now we can engage in Kirtan. There are so many places on the way back, and generally we go in a bit of a circle and go to the edge of Nabadwip Dham, means up to Nrsimhapali, Devapali that you mentioned before. But we go through Harihara Kshetra and other places along the way. Suvarna Biha, the place where King Suvarna, he had his kingdom, but where he came to, and then Narada Muni gave instruction to the king about saying how everything is just a waste if it is not for devotional service. And he taught him especially about Bhakti Yoga. And at that time, of course, and I suppose predominantly, those who are a little wise are thinking about liberation. But Bhakti Yoga being the only way to actually get positive liberation, not just defeating the negative things, but entering into the positive land, and only through Bhakti Yoga. Yeah. So Narada Muni giving his grace to King Suvarna Sen, and then this place called Suvarna Biha. And Devapali, Harihara Kshetra, and it's told to be the Kasi of Nabadwip. So Kasi is very famous as the place of Lord Shiva, but in Nabadwip, then it is so much more powerful and known as Mahavaranasi. So even for the regular pilgrims who want to do something for their karma, whatever else it may be, they can come and do Parikrama of Nabadwip Dham. Let them come, because everything is here and more. This is the point. And so many descriptions in the early part, chapter 1, chapter 2 of the Nabadwip Dham Mahatmya, and then Bhaktivinode Thakur is describing the equivalent of spending 100 years in all the other holy places, is covered, I think, within 3 nights in Nabadwip. Some like extraordinary glorification of the Dham. But all of this is true. It is all true. It is revealed truth coming through. And then Mahajan briefly coming through Madhyadip, because even when we are on Parikrama also, we tend to pass through Madhyadip on the way nowadays to cross the bridge. But in the time of Guru Maharaj, when Guru Maharaj was with us, we wouldn't be crossing the bridge. We'd be coming back and taking boats back across the Ganges and returning to the mat. But now there is Gauranga Setu. Oh, here it is. Still standing by the looks of it, unless it's an old photo. Anyhow, Gauranga Setu. And so we reverentially cross the Ganges to return back to Kolaveche. And there are 4 islands on the east side of the river Ganges. So we've got Antadip, then Simantadwip, and Godrumdeep and Madhyadip. And now we're going to cross back to Kolaveche, which is where our Chaitanya Saraswat mat is, and we'll be there tomorrow. But in Madhyadip is the mention of the 7 rishis, and they worshipped Mahaprabhu here, and that there is a place here where there are 7 hills where those rishis are told to be engaged in their worship, and it's in the same constellation as the 7 rishis in the constellations, for those of you who know about the stars in the sky. And 7 rishis are residing there. And also in Madhyadip is Naimisharanya forest is included there, as all the holy places are included within Nabadwip Dham. Then we are passing through that area where the Srimad Bhagavatam was delivered by Sutta Goswami, presently in its matured form, to the assembly gathered there at the beginning of Kali Yuga for the benefit, so that they can say, what will we be able to give for the residents of Kali Yuga? And then at that time they started a big sacrifice, and there Sutta Goswami explained at Naimisharanya forest Srimad Bhagavatam in its mature form. So these are some of the localities that are pointed out on our Parikrama through the rest of Godrumdeep, Madhyadip, and then returning back to Kolaveche.
Hare
And
Krishna.
lots of dust, lots of kirtan, and if there's
Krishna.
something you'd like to add there, Maharaj.
No, just that's perfect. So we've arrived at the Mat.
Well, we will once we cross the river, so I think we need some Sankirtan to get there.
Hare Krishna.
But yes, so now we'll have covered the east.
All right. We'll conclude here for the evening, and then tomorrow resume from there.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes. All right. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Shri Advaita Chandra Garadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhata Dasa Raghunath Jai Go Jai Gori Charana Bandhan Jaha Hoite Vignash Avista Puran Jai Go Jai Jarmuni Tarudan Kansabala Padarenu Mola Panchadran Kandara Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevan Janame More Abhilan Jai Go Jai Jabe Braje Koilovan Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaisnava Pate Bhajayaman Shri Guru Vaisnava Pate Padma Koriyan Harinam Sankirtan Kore Nara Samadan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Gaura Hari Bo Nitai Gaur Hari Bo Gaura Hari Bo Jai Srila Madhavendra Puri Tirubha Mahamahotsavatiti Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahanta Parivrajakacharya Satara Sada Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Shridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramananda Thakur Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sri Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinode Thakur Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Sri Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Saparikar Sri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundar Jiu Ki Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Govindana Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Nabadwip Dham Ki Jai Shri Nabadwip Dham Parikrama ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai, Sri Gupta Govardhan ki jai, Ganga Devi, Jamuna Devi, Bhakti Devi, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Om Vishnupad Vishva Varena Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Acharya Vrinda ki jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Avadhut Maharaj ki jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki jai, Sannyasi Vrinda ki jai, Seva Vrinda ki jai, Sri Bhakti Lalita Devi Dasi ki jai, Somaveda Bhakti Vrinda ki jai, Sri Nabadwip Dham Mahatmyam ki jai, Sri Nabadwip Dham Parikrama ki jai, Nitai Go Premanande.
Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bo. A wonderful day, Maharaj.
Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki jai, Manindra Mohan Prabhu Shanti Mohi Didi Krishna Kanda Didi and the Vila Govinda Bhakti Vrinda ki jai, Ramanuja Das and Ishwari Devi Dasi ki jai, Sri Hari Prabhu in Brazil ki jai, Chaitanya Nitai Prabhu in Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Vrivda Devi Dasi in Nizhny Novgorod, the mother of Kalindi Priya ki jai. Rasananda Prabhu in Sochi ki jai, Nama Priya Dandavat, Anandamoyi Dandavat, Shama Priya Didi Dandavat. What does this mean? Khua? Anyone know?
Kharkov in Ukraine.
Kharkiv in Ukraine. All right, Dandavat. Gauranataraj Prabhu in Brazil, Dandavat. Nimai Priya Didi, Dandavat. Parama Bhakti Didi in Brazil, Dandavat. Divya Shakti Didi, Dandavat. Rasamoyi Pandita Didi, Dandavat. Endubala Devi, Dandavat. Malini Didi in Orsk, Dandavat in Russia. Subhashini Didi in Ireland, Dandavat. Susmita Didi, Hare Krishna, Ni Hao, she's in China, Dandavat. And bless all the students at the Orange Saffron Institute. Hare Krishna. Elena, Jamuna's mother in Moscow, Dandavat. Yuteshri Didi in Zaporozhye, Dandavat. Lakshmi Priya Didi and Lila Sundar Prabhu and Kiev, Dandavat. Janvi and Maheshwari Didi in New Delhi, Dandavat. Sri Lekha Didi, Dandavat. Purushottam Prabhu at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu, Dandavat. Hey Krishna. Jai Srimad Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj. Hey Krishna, Nabazia, Dandavat, and all the Bhakti Vrinda there. Ekadashi Didi, Subhana, and Tonks, Bhakti Vrinda, Dandavat. Paramananda Prabhu in Japan, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Leela Shakti Didi and Brazil, Dandavat. Jaya, what a surprise. Jaya, Dandavat. Hare Krishna, probably in Petersburg, right? All right, in Russia. Hare Krishna. Lakshmana Didi and Petersburg, Dandavat. Ananda Nidhi Prabhu, Dandavat. Ajita Krishna Prabhu in Kaselny in Moscow, Dandavat. Tapananandini Didi in Mexico, Dandavat. Gaur Chandra Prabhu in Nadhodka, Dandavat. Pavel Brun in Moscow, Dandavat. Anjali, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Saraswati Didi, our manager, and the West London Math, Dandavat. Jai Srimad Bhakti Ashram, Dande Maharaj. Dandavat, where we go? Over there. Ira Didi, Dandavat. Ratin Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat. Tunga Rasa Didi, Dandavat. Krishna Kanta Prabhu, Dandavat. Aloka Didi in Crimea, Dandavat. Indumukhi with Mitra Vinda Devi Dasi in Shenzhen, Dandavat. She's on her Nabadwip Dham Parikrama. Hare Krishna. Abhiram Prabhu, Dandavat. Veera Chandra Prabhu, Dandavat. He's safe and sound. Happy to see. Hare Krishna. Praneshri Didi Dandavat. Lilavati Didi Dandavat. Bijay Krishna Prabhu in London, Dandavat. Indumukhi Didi Dandavat. Gauranga Nataraj Prabhu in Brazil, Dandavat. Anyone else? Maruchan Didi Dandavat. And Lilavati is here. Vishaka, Dandavat, Pavan Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Suchitra, Dandavat Sulakshan is here. Kum Didi, Dandavat Nityananda Das is here. Prafula Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Dhananjaya Prabhu, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Is that everyone? Chandrakanti Didi, Dandavat. Nitai Das, Dandavat. Kamala Didi, Nalina Nayana and China, Dandavat. Jagan Mata Didi and Tonks, Dandavat. Ragaleka Didi, Dandavat. Mahaprabhu Das, and so, used to be in Sochi. Dandavat. Ananda Lila Didi in Brazil, Dandavat. Induleka, where is she? Oh, okay. And so, okay, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Speaking of Kalpataru, Hare Krishna. Dandavat.